ninjas, how are you doing? It's your girl Owamie, and welcome back to another episode of To Hell and Back. Now, you guys, if it's your first time joining us, you're most definitely welcome. Please do make sure that you subscribe and obviously hit the bell, the notification bell, so that every time we upload, you are actually alerted and YouTube will send you a notification. Now, ninjas, you guys know on my back, it's FS Emporium. She's been sponsoring us throughout the season. I do have pictures of this. It's actually a 2-set and I absolutely love it. I wore this outfit for my masterclass last year and I'm still in awe. So I will leave her link in the description box down below. Please do make sure that you go to Instagram, check her out and order something. She has a dress that is going on special right now that is going for only 550. It's beautiful, it's wild, go get one. I also do have to say a huge shout out to Maano Media. He's the one that has been obviously producing To Hell and Back, even though today we are shooting independently, but I do have to say a huge shout out to him. I'll also make sure that I leave his link in the description box down below. If you need anything digital, make sure that you go and you check him out. And ninjas, please do go to Instagram and follow me. It's boldlyowamie as well. Please do follow me, guys. Like, you can't just be supporting me on YouTube only. Support me on Instagram too, I beg. But anyway, ninjas, today we have got the beautiful, the gorgeous, the well-spoken, the rich, the focused Lady Q. The very single, but only to rich men. Only you have money. If you have no money, she is taken. Anke, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you to be here. Finally. Guys, Lady Q is one of my friends, so this is this is definitely, I don't know, when it's my friends, I feel like I kind of relax, I get off that relaxed work mode.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just have to remind myself, remember, Wami, they don't know her. You know her, so you need to ask the relevant questions, But welcome to the show,
Thank
my
you
love.
for having me.
When I saw that you were opening up on TikTok.
Yeah.
And also on YouTube, because you do have a YouTube channel as well. That is also going to be linked in the description box. So make sure that you go and subscribe. I was really I was saddened. But I was really happy to see that you're starting to open up.
I'm trying. I recently started therapy.
Is it?
So I'm now on my healing journey.
Yeah.
And I know that talking about these things is at least the first step,
Yeah. It is a sign that you're healing, But I'm really, happy for you.
Thank you.
Before they attack me and eat me alive,
yes.
I would like for you to just introduce yourself. Who are you? Where can they get you? What do you do?
So, hi everyone. My name is Q, Lady Q on all the socials. My government name is Nisile. Please say that for me, Owa.
Nisile.
That sounded like hard work, ne?
Oh, wow. Wait, say it again.
Nisile.
There
you go.
Yeah. No, remember, I'm Venda.
No, but these people up here, they on some.
Yeah, no, it's because of what I've realized is that a lot of people can't.
They can't click.
Their tongue can't go everywhere, but vendors go everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Kunisile, but you guys can call me Lady Q or Q. And I am an Airbnb coach. So what I do is I teach people how to do Airbnb without owning property. That's what's been my claim to fame and success.
Yes,
I'm very
of course.
proud. And that's pretty much what I do. So if you are interested and you want to reach out, you can find me on Instagram or on TikTok as Lady Q. Or you should leave all my details down below.
They would definitely be.
Yeah, definitely reach out if you're interested in starting your Airbnb business this year.
You're also an interior designer.
Oh, snap.
Snap. See, the nice thing of you being my friend, I know you. Say that as well.
I'm an interior designer. I mostly do interiors for Airbnbs, but obviously if you have any type of space that needs some work, check out my Instagram. You'll see some of the work that we've been doing, and if you like it and you want to reach out, then feel free to do so on my Instagram.
You are also a boss.
Ma'am.
You should say that.
I'm a boss.
And you've also been on Date My Family. Claim it all.
I'm so embarrassed. Especially because, it would have been a different story if I went on Date My Family and then I actually got something.
You didn't get anything?
Nothing. I'm still single.
Man.
I mean, he chose me. He came back, but...
Oh, at least you won. It would have been a different story.
Is it really a win, though?
For me, a win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what they say. A wait, he chose me, even though it didn't go through, but it's me he chose, you know. But anyway, you know, obviously, as I said, guys, when I saw that you were opening up, that's the part that I actually wanted you to come and, you know, just talk to us. You growing up in an orphanage and, you know, the things that would happen that I'm still just literally shocked. I'm not going to lie. I saw your video on TikTok. I did not watch your YouTube video because I knew that I was going to have you come.
Yes.
I'm going to go and watch it after this, which that video itself, I'm going to link it. Or actually, I'm going to just link her channel. Just go to her channel, subscribe, and obviously check all her videos. But I was just so heartbroken, you know. Really, honestly, for me, it was really just like, I think also because I know you on a personal level.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always sit and we always talk, and you never shared that part. You've shared other stuff, but
I've actually never shared a lot of these things that I shared in that video with anyone. Except my closest friend, Tuli. But because we grew up together, we would speak about these things, but we've never really shared it. Mainly because we didn't even know it was abuse until now. It's crazy.
yeah.
So a lot of people will be like, oh, I was so heartbroken and whatnot. To me, it's genuinely normal. It was normal.
Wow. So I think that maybe the first question I would ask for you to obviously tell the audience, how did you end up in the orphanage? What age were you when you went there?
So I was newborn. Well, that orphanage that I speak about in the video, that's the one that I grew up most of my life in. So I arrived there when I was 3 years old, but I was in another one before that. And then before that, I don't know my entire story about what happened to my family and whatnot. I just know the snippets that I hear from my sister. A lot of people don't know I have a sister.
Biological sister.
A biological sister. Because I don't really speak much about her. But the little bit that I know about my parents and what happened to them is from her. What she recalls, because she was a bit older than me, she recalls us being in prison. Your expressions, Owamie, kill me.
I mean, I don't know about that name, but...
Yeah, no, she recalls us being in prison with our mother. And that's her youngest memory. That's her youngest memory.
How what's the gap, the age gap
4
between
years.
you? 4 years.
Yes.
So she was also fairly young, you know.
Yes, but she's got some recollection of the whole thing. So I guess when my mother passed, we went from the prison or wherever we were into the first orphanage, and then we were transferred to the one in Maritzburg, which is where I grew up and stayed until I was 18 years old.
So when you went to the orphanage, did you go with your sister?
Yes.
So you were together there? Okay. Wow. I mean, okay. So please just, you know, you can go ahead and just tell us, what was your experience at the orphanage? What is the youngest memory that you have, you know, obviously as you were growing there?
I would say that the overall experience, if I'm being completely honest, wasn't as terrible as, you know, some of these movies make it out to be. But there were definitely things where we were wronged. And like I said, I only recently started therapy, so I recently started to realize that actually that wasn't normal, or that was a form of abuse. So I'd say one of the first things I remember was in the orphanage. It was divided into four sections. So you had the toddler section, so that's like your newborns until what age do we start school? Grade 6, ne? 6, ne?
I think
6
so.
years old.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's newborn until 6 years old. Then the other section is girls from grade 1 until matric, boys until grade 1 until matric, and then a mixture. So I obviously had to start out in the toddler section because I was 3. And one of the things I remember was after lunchtime, the toddlers had to go to bed, take a nap. Now you can imagine there's like 25 toddlers. You think it's easy to put?
No, you can't. It's tough to put one down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as kids are, we would, you know, be a bit naughty and whatnot. But 2 o'clock it was supposed to be bedtime or nap time, and there was a nurse. His quarters, because most of the staff actually stayed at the orphanage. They had flats, we call them flats.
Okay.
They stayed there with their families.
Oh, okay.
Now, one of these people was a nurse, and his quarters was right at the end of the passage of the toddlers section. Obviously, because he needed to be there, easy access to the kids if they're sick or whatever. So at 2:00, once you've been sent to bed, maybe they'll wait like 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and then he would open his door, and you would hear the door open, make that sound.
That way, yeah.
And you knew
Yeah.
it's about to go down.
Wow.
And he would go into each room and check who's sleeping, and if he notices that you're not sleeping, he would lift you up with one arm like this and punch you in the stomach. Now this guy, he was not small. He's a big guy. Like, I don't know if I just remember him being big because
he was
really
small.
but
I mean, he was relatively big, obviously.
but I think he was just big even right now if I had to see him. And he was quite strong. So you can imagine if you're like 3 years old or 4 years old and you're being punched in the stomach with full force to be able to cry yourself to sleep. I mean, it worked. It was effective. But was it right? So that was honestly my first experience. And this happened every day. Every single day, and for some reason I was always awake.
So you would get punched?
Yes, I was punched many times. I still remember the feeling to this day. Like you lose a breath of wind.
Yeah.
You know? So that was a very distinct memory that I have, especially from my first years there. Yeah. So.
I mean, I don't know. For me, guys, as I said, Lady Q is my friend, or rather Q is my friend. So it's really tough, you know, for me to have to listen to that. And that being your first memory as like a child, that really honestly is just crazy. But did the other people, the people that were working in the orphanage, know that this man was doing that?
Yes, it wasn't a
secret.
Not at all. In fact, I think it was somewhat arranged. The house mothers at the toddler section, their lunch break was in that time that we were supposed to be sleeping. So you can imagine if the kids are not sleeping, then it's cutting into their lunch break. So what's the quickest way to make these children fall asleep?
Punch them.
Exactly, make them cry. And it worked, like I said, it was very effective. But then much later on, I think when I was even out of the toddler section now, we got new management in and they let him go for obvious reasons. So it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
He's long gone. But
yeah,
it wasn't a secret at all. At all.
But that's really concerning. It means even the people that are working there, they should have also been gone, because how are you seeing such abuse and you're okay with that?
But like I said, I don't think that we certainly didn't view it as abuse, and they didn't view it as abuse either. I don't think that a lot of the house mothers who were seeing this were bad people at all. I think that they were just misguided.
I think there were good people that did something bad. Because that was definitely bad. Because personally for me, you know, what I truly believe is that if you see injustice happening and you do not speak up and say, I'm not going to choose a side or I'm not going to get involved, you already picked the side of the oppressor.
But now, if you think about like a lot of black homes, you know that there's probably abuse happening there, but they label it as discipline.
But they don't punch their kids to sleep, you know. I think that it's different. I mean, if let's say maybe you did something wrong and they took like a small stick and they're beating you, that's how we grew up.
I even bring back other memories now. Remembering we would have to, you know what Uswazi is?
What's that? A stick?
It's a long one.
Okay.
A long one like this. So if you were, that punching was
for sleep.
To go to sleep. And then if you were naughty, then it would be you must go outside and you go and pick Uswazi. Yeah,
okay.
Long stick. See the one that makes a noise when it goes.
Yeah.
One. Yeah. So they smack us with that. Or a wet face cloth. And
you know, a wet face cloth is so painful. Oh, I would rather the stick, because sometimes it breaks. Yeah, no.
Uswazi doesn't break. You know why? It's not dry.
Oh, it's wet.
Yeah, that one that will even.
Where, but no. Is it a okay.
That one that even leaves a
mark. So they had them.
They were on the trees. Let's go get one.
So you have to pick the smallest one that you can get. And obviously everyone is going to be picking the smallest. So when you go there at one point, there's no more the small one. You just have to, my goodness.
No, but we were naughty sometimes, I won't lie. But
I mean, I do get that. I feel like child discipline is very important. Like, I won't lie, I'm also a mom tea. If my baby is being stubborn, yes, he will get it, Like, if he gets to a point where I'm like, what? You're definitely getting it, But I think that obviously the times have now differed. Ever since he's been born, I've never beaten him.
Yeah. Also, that's another very important point, that this was early 2000s.
Yeah.
Very, very different to now.
It's very different to now. But I think that, like, for the fact that they would punch you guys to sleep, no, that one is not normal. That one is not anything that happens in a household that it's not abusive. I think that for me, that was definitely abusive. But the experience that you talk about, saying that, it wasn't bad and everything, like, just the overall experience, please just, share with us.
I would say, okay, there were definitely other bad things that happened. Maybe we'll talk about those in a bit. But they really took care of us, I won't lie. Our needs were all taken care of. We never went hungry. There were other,
What?
I'm laughing because I'm saying we never went hungry, but the food we were eating was very questionable. Do you want to talk about that?
Please.
All right, so like I said, early management was terrible. When it's very clear that this person is not passionate about childcare, they're just doing it for
the money,
which is barely there. But they would basically make the food in bulk. In those big buckets, what is it, like a 20 liter?
Yeah.
So they were kitchen staff, so they'll make maybe rice in a 20 liter, maybe 2 or 3 20 liters, make the stew in that, everything, and then that will stay for who knows how long. So it needs to run out. This food had maggots in it, like especially the rice. It had maggots in it. And now, maggots look like rice.
Yeah.
So it's hard to even to tell.
Differentiate.
Yeah, and when you say to the house mother, this food has maggots, but you just put it aside. And we did that. We had rice that had maggots. The bread was always moldy. Green. It's green. And then you just have to pick out the green part of the bread. What else was off there? The milk was always sour. Even I didn't know until much, much later that knickknacks are crunchy. And the knickknacks are actually nice. It was very stale. Chocolates, because, on Sundays they would give us a treat. So we'll get like chocolates and chips and whatnot. So the knickknacks were always very chewy. The chocolates were not even brown, they were gray. So when you have to lick it, you see the actual color. So the food was terrible. It was old. I don't know how we didn't get sick. Or maybe we just built up a strong
immune system. Yes.
Yeah, but for the longest time we were just eating things that are very questionable. For example, like, have you ever had a scone that is stale? And you break it apart and then you see webs.
Yes, like wheat does that. Obviously, you throw it away.
Exactly.
You can't
we were
eat
eating
it.
that. So yes, we didn't go hungry, but we weren't eating.
Do you think it was just a matter of they were mismanaging?
Yes.
So they would try to buy in bulk so much so that they get the highest discount so that they can keep some money and cook that and be like, you finish this?
It might have been more of they didn't want to spend on food, so they were relying on the donations. So now you don't know when donations will come in. So, you will obviously make the most out of the food that you have right now while you're waiting for more donations. That I think
But the concerning part is that, like, there was no organization that would come to the orphanage, like, to inspect. Like, the health inspectors, they would never come in.
No, I mean, well, this specific orphanage was not entirely government.
Okay, it was private ran, but obviously not really private because they were getting a lot of money for that. So it's a business, basically.
It was a business. So, yeah, I think that's why they did it. And like I said, because it wasn't entirely government, they were probably able to get away with it for a long time.
Wow.
But the government, I will say though, that the government orphanages were way worse than us.
Yeah, because the government, my goodness. Okay, so, obviously, Yeah. No, I think it's just one of those things that, okay, we'll get into it obviously as time is going, but other than just maybe the bad experiences that were there, what are the other memories, like even bad or good, like what are the other memories that you have? Your sister obviously was there. Were you able to interact with her a lot? Because I know that at one point you guys were separated in terms of you on the other side, she was on the other side.
So when I arrived, I was 3, she was, what's 3 plus 4? 7. 7 years, yeah. So she was obviously in the older girls section. So the longest time we were not together, and then I joined her in that block later on. We obviously did live together. I think we are so different, me and my sister, in the sense that I was very much, what's this word? I was very independent, very aware of the situation, and I just wanted nothing more than to create a better life for myself. And, even considering the whole fact that I didn't have my parents or anything like that, I still was very positive, because I was just like, you know what, life is unfair. It's unfair to everyone. What are you going to do about it? Whereas she actually has memories of our parents, and then that was taken away. So she was a bit more, I'd say, damaged. So yeah, we didn't quite click on that level, because I always felt like she was feeling sorry for herself. I now understand now that she had every right to feel sorry for herself. But yeah, we were quite different in that sense. So unfortunately, we weren't the closest. And yeah, it's just how it is. But I was with her. At
the orphanage, did they try maybe encourage for you guys to have a relationship since they knew you were siblings?
No, okay. Nothing like that.
So there was not that. Because you know what is the other thing? I will not lie, I'm very close with my siblings, but I have to thank my mom for that. My mom,
she forced it.
She forced it. She would always tell me, like, you're the older one, you take care of your siblings, you do this. So I grew up with that. So I think that also, a siblings relationship, it also goes with the environment where they were brought, the teachings that you got. I was told that, they are you are them. And so that's how it is. So I think that, do you think maybe that also maybe might have been a thing of...
Maybe they could have done it, but there were just so many of us.
Yeah, and that's what I'm also thinking.
Siblings.
Yeah, okay. Sort of so they didn't have time for your emotions, basically.
No. Yeah, I think that, like, speaking of emotions, that's something that I would say was really, really lacking. Even, to start off with, we had really terrible management, and then new people came in and everything was corrected. But one thing that was never fixed was the whole issue of emotional availability to the children, which is something that I don't think it's possible to fix. Yeah. Like a parent who has 3 kids, it's already very difficult, and you're going to have that one kid who's going to feel isolated. Now there's 100 of us.
How many were you in the orphanage, do you know?
About 100.
Wow.
Yeah. Now divide that by 4, so there's like 25 per section, and it's one house mother looking after 25 kids. And then also the house mothers alternate. So for a few days you'll have this one, and then a couple of days you'll have another one. So even us as a child, you never really had a consistent motherly figure. Yeah. Or just like a primary
caregiver, because they kept on
always switching, which now affects us as adults. I don't know if you know about what are these things called? Attachment style.
Yes.
So mine is fearful avoidant, because of that. This house mother, I can express myself, and I can do this, and I can say such things, and I feel heard. And in this one, I'm not allowed to say or get in trouble and whatnot. That one is a bit irritable. You know what I mean? It's that constant switching, and you don't really know where you stand as a person and how to express yourself. Because of the upbringing. And
I think as a child, you also fail to kind of know who you are, because you have to act different for the different house mothers. Because, with this one, I'm free. I can be, and with this one, I have to be timid, because this one, that's really quite sad though, because I do feel like the emotional aspect also, like even with kids that are in the orphanage, I feel like they need it even more, because
they really do.
Some really still remember their parents, they're being taken from a life that, they actually knew.
Some of the terrible stories as to why different children were, why why we were there. Mine is honestly not that bad. I just don't. My parents passed on, and it sounds terrible, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I knew a girl. She came in when we were around 11, and her story was, well, first she was always very closed off, like unusually so. We would share rooms, so there'd be like 7 of us in one room. They have these double bunks. It was very cute, actually. I think that's where I wanted to do interior design. I'll tell you that.
Is it?
Story
Okay,
later.
okay.
But she would never change in front of the other kids. And I'm a very observant person. And one day I walked in on her by accident, and she quickly, and then I asked her, "What's up?" And because I was quite close to her, she finally opened up and she told me why she came there. What happened was her mother was working night shift, and I think she was a single mom, so it was her and her brother. And on this one night, the mother went to work, and she would look after her brother, and an intruder came in and he stabbed her like all over. There's one long scar that goes all the way down here, some on the neck, all over the arms, or like a very serious thing. Then he ran away, and she was, when he ran out, he left the door open, and she was feeling cold, obviously because of her injuries, but she thought it was because of the door, and she walked to the door, holding her intestines in her hands, closed the door, and then she collapsed at the door. The neighbors found her because her blood was seeping under the door the next morning. And obviously, she's miraculously survived. That's why she was brought to the orphanage.
Negligence, yeah.
And whatnot. And those are some of the stories. There's other ones much, much worse. Children going through crazy things, and that's why we were all there. Some of them do have parents. It's just that the parents have
heinous things, yeah.
Either on purpose or by mistake, or they just can't afford to look after the children. So, yeah, we were all there for many different reasons. And sometimes we would just share our stories with each other. Yeah, man, it made us feel really... I think it forces you to grow up real quick. You can't just be a child and relax and whatnot, because we're told or shown very early in life how tough life is. And if you don't get your act together, this cycle could just continue on to the next generation.
Are you able to ever attach to people?
I struggle.
Are you attached to yourself?
Am I attached to myself? In what way?
In a way of, I feel like, like right now you're talking about, like you'd get punched, you'd eat food that is like this, this and this would happen. Mostly with someone that does not have too much trauma, you would see emotions in their eyes way more than what I see with you. So it's almost like when you're talking about, oh, this happened to that person. It's almost like that child that was in the orphanage and whatever happened to that child, and you are two completely different people.
That's why I'm saying my attachment style is avoidant. Avoidance, the emotions are here. That is embarrassing. That is not me. It's a distinct separation between here and what happened to me, because it's life. It happens to all of us, and I think that's also how I explained how me and my sister are so different. She's way more emotional. She would be in tears right now, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just very stuffed, and it's not the best thing, but it's a coping mechanism, and it's what's gotten me this far. To be honest, I've always had to be very
strong,
yes. Reserved in terms of emotions, where it matters. I'll show emotions in other places, but in these sort of things, I'm just going to...
I'm going to be like, okay, you know what, ma'am, it's fine. It's over there.
And I cry when I get home.
But how has that been for you in the dating world? So now what I actually want to find out is that, you are a very successful woman right now.
Thank you.
And I do remember, like, when we started talking and you told me, like, oh, actually, I grew up in the orphanage, this and that. You are younger than me, so you're my baby sister. And I'm someone that I really honestly appreciate people who, even though life has thrown so much at them, they still push and they do whatever it is that they can, to make sure that they actually get on the other side of it. I want you to just maybe tell us, from the group of the ladies that you obviously, or the group of the children that you were with in the orphanage, if you were to say maybe percentage wise, how many of them would you say are actually in a good place today?
It's not a lot. If I'm being very, very honest, I think I can even count them on my hand of not just, the ones my age. I'm talking all of us, even the ones who were there before me, the ones who, left after me. I can count them on my hands. Those of us who are, I'm not saying like super successful, but independent. We don't have to rely on men or whatever it is for money. Some are on the streets, some have landed up in prison. Some are in prostitution, unfortunately. So, very, very few of us have done something significant
with their lives.
Yeah.
If you are looking at obviously everything there, and obviously what would you say would be one significant thing that you think the group that made it and the group that didn't make it have?
God.
Wow.
One thing that orphanage forced on us, I don't even like they forced it, was somewhat of a relationship with God. We had Bible study every day at 7 o'clock before we go to bed. Everyone must come, whether you believe in God or not, they don't care. You must come and we all read the Bible and we pray and we go to bed. Growing up, I hated it because I didn't really, it was just, whatever. But at some point, I chose to give my life to God.
Christ.
We had to go to church every Sunday, by fire, by force. Every Friday we had to go to youth, and then every Sunday evening we had Bible study, like an actual subject.
Okay.
And I'd say honestly, the ones who have gotten some way are the ones who had their own personal relationship with God, and they were not just doing it out of obligation. And that's honestly the only difference.
Okay. Would you also say that the group that made it, like the ones you can count on your hand, emotionally, they're like you?
No.
Okay.
Others are doing better than me. They are a bit more better at expressing emotions and I'd say it's equal. Half of us are very much like me, like Thuli's like me, copy and paste. We don't even, it's funny, man. So Thuli's, I'd say, the closest person that I have from the orphanage, and she's my closest friend in life in general. And sometimes we'll have engagements in front of other people, and then we won't treat each other the way that people assume that we would treat each other. For example, she was staying at my place for a while, and then she was going back to KZN to be with her son. And that morning when she left, I was lying in bed. I said, okay, bye. And then she said, bye.
No hug, no.
My friend was there, ne? And then my friend called me later. She's like, I want to talk to you about something. I don't appreciate the way you didn't hug Thuli.
When she left, I'm like, hug? She wasn't even expecting that.
If I had hugged her, that would have been awkward.
Yeah, she would have been like, and then wait a minute, what is this? Are you dying? What's going on?
It's so funny because my friend comes from a very loving, like a proper family setup, whereas we come from the orphanage, and this to us is normal. Whereas that, I don't like hugs. They're so awkward.
Is it?
No,
I'm a hugger.
I know.
I hug you all the time, so I'm gonna do it
but
more.
Have you noticed how I come in?
I know you, and I think that because you already know I'm coming in from a hug, you're just like, but I'll continue doing it. I'll force you to do it. I'll force, I don't mind. Even if it's a side hug, it's fine. I'll take that.
I show love and affection in different ways.
Yes.
Like I will support you, like support your business, and if I can support you financially.
You're in action,
yes,
because action makes sense to you.
Correct.
Where else emotions? It's like I don't see that, but if you need me, I'm here. Yes, I know that.
That to me is what love is. That's why I need a man with money.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't have money, she's taken. Okay, so I also just want to know, what was your experience going to school from the orphanage? Was it a school that was only with kids from the orphanage, or was it a school with kids that are also from, just a normal school?
Yeah. So we all went to different schools.
Okay.
In around Pietermaritzburg. So they kind of just grouped us and they were like, okay, 6 of you guys go to that school, 6 of you go. I think that helped a lot because then there was some sense of normal. Can you imagine if we were in the orphanage and then we all went to the same school as well? Get sick of
yeah.
So basically, they just spread us out. And every morning, there were 2 combis that would take us to school, and they just go drop us off, and then after school they come and pick us up again. It was pretty normal. We went to school with normal kids, but then that also kind of created its own set of problems, because then you realize that we are different. Yes, because they even the lunch that they bring to school.
I wanted to ask about that, because I'm like, with the lunch, what was the deal there? Because
I used to eat my lunch in the bathroom.
Oh.
Because I knew, well, I didn't, when I first, grade 1, when I went to school, and I opened my lunch, to me it was normal, until I saw the other kids' lunches, and one of the kids made fun of me. Since that day, I would eat my lunch in the bathroom and hide it. Because it didn't look the same, man. It didn't. Even our uniforms didn't quite look the same. I remember my primary school dress was a green school dress then, but because our uniforms were secondhand, mine was a bit bluish.
Oh.
So yeah, we did kind of stand out. We knew we were different, but I'd say for the most part, the kids didn't treat us like we were different. Like I wasn't bullied at all, except for that comment that one kid
made about your food. Nee. So how old were you when you left the orphanage? 18. So the moment you're 18, it's a must, you have to leave.
The moment you're done with matric.
The moment you're done with matric, you have to go. After matric and you have to leave, do they provide some form of support?
No.
So like you're 18, you're gone, that's it. You see. And then where do you go? Because obviously you don't have a home, you don't have...
I went to Cape Town.
How did you go to Cape Town? To who did you go to?
By myself. No, let me tell you the whole story. So I was able to get funding.
Okay.
From the like I said, the orphanage was a private orphanage, so a lot of it was reliant on sponsorships and all that sort of stuff, donations and stuff. So there was one lady who was very involved with the orphanage in terms of education. So she really wanted to create opportunities for any kid who was serious enough. So when I was in grade 10, she noticed that I was, serious, and she asked me what I wanted to do. Said I want to do interior design, and she arranged the whole thing. But she said that she could only afford to pay for 1 year, so that was going to be the highest certificate. So I went there, and she paid for my tuition. I still had to get a job and pay for my food and travel and all that sort of stuff. And then I wanted to actually get I wanted to do the full course, the 3-year course. So I went and I looked for sponsorship. And luckily I found a company that needed some BEE points.
And they took you in.
They took me in and they paid for everything, like tuition. They even gave me allowance. They paid for accommodation. They paid for travel costs. They gave me an internship. So that was really good. And I've always felt like I'm somewhat God's favorite child. Somewhat. Deep down, because it's just been crazy how my story should be very different. It should be. Like when I look at the other kids, there's not too much that was different that they did that I didn't do, except the fact that
grace,
like God.
So after you finished your 3 years with interior design, what happened? You now had your internship.
Well, at the time I was interning with that company, I wasn't really passionate about it, to be honest. Or it's either that or my current boyfriend was a distraction. I don't know.
Yeah,
it might have been him, because at the time I felt like interior design was not my passion, but here I am, interior designing.
Back full time and full force.
He is the problem.
He was the problem, and you were the problem, Yana, because you were influenced.
I was.
Bad influence.
Okay, so they let me go because they could also see that this girl is not very
she's not serious.
about this. And then me and him moved to Joburg together.
Which year was that?
2020. When was COVID?
2020.
Yeah. Guess what happened? We broke it off like a few days before Cyril announced
the lockdown.
We were in lockdown together, broken up. It was hell. He was getting to know his new person.
He was already moved on.
Yeah,
man,
he was better than me. I should have also moved on, honestly. But he was getting to know his new somebody, and they're together, right? Even to this day. Like I was the problem. I was standing in the way of him finding the love of his life. Oh, what? still
Miss
together.
Her, if you ever watch this interview.
No, I genuinely don't feel any beef towards him. It's just life, you know.
Yeah.
It was the way that he was going. It was the channel that he was going to find her, and
Yeah.
they did. But it was painful.
Of course.
I was here in Joburg. I had found a interior design job, smaller nyana thing, and then unfortunately COVID shut
Took
down
that,
that company.
yeah.
So I was unemployed. I was broke. Mind you, I moved to Joburg with like 20-something rand in my account.
But I need to, you believe in Indot. Indot was supposed to provide. Was it not a provider? Was it not providing?
Not really.
Oh, how do you take such a risk at 20 rands? Sure.
I need to, my God's favor is in my pocket.
Okay.
And it was, shame. It really was. I never looked at him as a provider.
Then how did you survive?
God, most.
But you didn't eat God.
As for I didn't eat God.
I mean, it's locked down, you're locked in, the rent has to be paid, food,
Oh, wait.
everything.
This is where the story starts.
Okay.
Okay, so Homeboy has now gone on his own way. I mean, yeah, he was also providing here and there, but like nothing major.
I was just feeling sorry for you. Like, it's like, okay, let
was
me
feeling
assist
himself
the
also.
poor, because at that time you were the No, I mean, you know, to him, it's just like, I know her, she has 20 rands. I mean, he knew your situation. So you were the poor to him, and for him at that point, but okay, you know.
We were both poor. He didn't have a
Wait,
job
did he
yet.
move to greener pastures? Like, the girl he got, was she like financially stable?
Yes, but I don't think it was because of that. I think it
Okay.
was true love, shit.
Oh, true love. And that's good. At least, you know.
Nah, he didn't do any gold digging. So he had just left. I didn't have a job anymore, and we needed to eat. I knew how to sew. I know how to sew. I can make this thing for you if I want to. No, I taught myself. Actually, no, he actually taught me how to sew.
Wait, was it South African?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that guy?
Closer, okay.
Yeah, so he taught me how to sew, and I had my sewing machine when I was here in Joburg, and then I knew that this COVID thing, you know, there's money everywhere. You just have to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I started making masks, and I started selling them on the neighborhood group. I made lots of money. Very nice. Then the lady who had hired me with the interior design, she was also in the same neighborhood. Yes, so she had a son who was starting his company doing medical scrubs and whatnot. So she asked if I could do that. I did. And then the business expanded. Now I started manufacturing medical scrubs, tracksuits, whatever. Like
You were
if wanted-
sewing them yourself? Wow.
in the beginning, and then
Okay.
I started hiring people because the demand was
High.
Yeah. So whatever you wanted to, like, if you wanted to start this brand, for example, then we would make it for you. And
In
your label on
bulks.
it, yeah.
Wow.
So I was doing that for a while. It was taking off. I got my own place. You know, I hired people. Got a smaller nyana studio thing. Things were going well. Hey, until it stopped. Everything crashed. We'll talk about that another day. It was mistakes that I made in business.
Of course. I always say that, you know what, in business, every mistake
Yeah.
is money.
Yes.
Okay. Like,
Yes.
money. And I think that anyone that is in business, this is something that you need to know. Everyone knows, because I was very public about this. I'm still going to make a video about my toilet and bag,
salon.
about my salon. I lost a lot of money. Last year was really tough for me. You know, it was really tough, and people could not see because, you know, obviously, but
You
there's.
have to keep a brave face.
Of course, we cannot be our problems,
No.
Kaloko. You do understand? But last year was really, really tough for me
Yeah.
because I lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
You go into debt,
I
unfortunately,
was
with
in debt.
losing a business. Because before you lose a business, you try everything that you can to make sure that, you know, this works, because you're already just like,
Now that client is paying for that one's mistakes because
Do you
that one
understand?
needed a refund because they were not happy with the service. But at the same time, the person who made the mistake was
Still
one of your
needs to get
staff. They
paid.
need to get paid. So where's this money coming from?
I'm telling
And
you.
I shut it down. In fact, we were evicted. We were evicted. I was technically homeless. Luckily, there was someone who said, just, you know, have a small anyana bedroom there, just sleep on the couch, whatnot, until you find your feet. And then I just happened to know someone who had their brand. His brand was doing terribly on social media. I said, my brothers, please bring that thing here and then pay me. So he did. I started marketing the brand. And started making some money, moved into an apartment in Randburg, started furnishing it slowly. And then someone came to visit one day and they were like, oh, your place is so nice. It looks like a hotel or an Airbnb. I was like, hello. I went downstairs that same day to building management and I said, listen, I don't make a lot of money. Sometimes I don't even make enough to pay my rent. But I have an idea that I want to try. Please give me permission to use this space, my apartment, for Airbnb. They said yes, very surprisingly. To this day, I actually owe those managers money.
Yeah.
I was taking them out for lunch or something. And I put it up on Airbnb. Mind you, at the time, I didn't even have all the furniture I needed because I was just making enough to get by. I only had a couch and a mattress and a shelf. Yes, I still have that shelf to this day. I won't throw it away.
Okay.
But I wanted to put it on Airbnb. So I had a friend in the building who was always at her boyfriend's place. So I said to her, Chomi, can I borrow your fridge, your microwave, your this, your that, your that, and I'll pay you every time I have a guest. So she agreed. So every time I had a guest, I would have to carry a fridge from the 3rd floor to the 6th floor, book the things nicely, and then when the guest moves out, take it back down. And I paid her slowly. I was making up my own money so I could buy my own fridge. Buy it. Yo, the day I bought a TV, I was so proud.
Wow.
I was so proud. And yeah, that's where the Airbnb thing started. And it changed my life tremendously because firstly, it's not what I studied, it's not what I planned. Before it, there would be days where I was hungry. Like I said, the money I was making from that brand was enough to maybe pay the rent, and that's pretty much it. I don't know what I'm eating for dinner, and since I started the Airbnb thing,
you've never gone hungry. Actually, you stay in a penthouse. I've been there. I've been there, guys. Her place is like, it's like LA.
Hey.
Like for me, it's like what I've seen on television because I've never been to LA. But like for me, it's like, your place is so beautiful. And I think that, looking at your story and where you are today and, having gone through, some mistakes, some fails, some successes. And again, this is public information, but I do have to say, you're moving to London this month. Like, I'm so just nervous. Like, girl, you're moving to London. So I really honestly hope that before you leave, you can come at least and leave us with a part 2 where you tell us about the business mistakes that you made. Because, we need to learn, this is where we learn. I feel like this is a platform where I feel like we should just be open because you might find that someone is still in there or they're entering the business you were in. The mistakes you made can actually help them. So obviously, guys, please comment down below and go harass her. Go TikTok. I will leave her link in the description. Go harass her and tell her we need a part 2 before you leave to London because I know you're leaving. Okay. So please, we need to make space. I will. Please, But with everything and obviously all that you have actually gone through, what advice would you give a child that is in the orphanage that is about to exit?
Okay, first I would want to give advice to a kid who's maybe younger in the orphanage, and it might sound harsh, but I would say life is unfair to all of us. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control your response to it. So a lot of the kids who didn't quite make it out, when I say make it out, I mean they're not in the orphanage, but they're still in poverty, right? Those kids, a lot of it comes from feeling sorry for themselves, not taking some of the opportunities that are thrown at you. So I'd say that a younger kid, I would say you need to firstly don't feel sorry for yourself. Cry. If it takes you a month, 6 months, cry until you've done crying. Because feeling sorry for yourself, unfortunately, is not going to change the situation. So I would say, like I said, you need to get into that mindset and decide that I want more for myself. So I'd say for a kid who's older and about to leave the orphanage, block out all and any distractions. So unfortunately, as much as we want to be young and we want to do crazy things that young people do, unfortunately, other kids have a backup plan. Whereas for you are your only backup plan. So boys, alcohol, drugs off, even groove. To a certain extent, like if you really, really want to make something big out of yourself, then you have to be an adult and and just adult. So that would be my advice. Yes, maybe you can do a bit better than I did and balance it out a bit, because I was just on hyper independence, and I to this day I do feel a little bit like my inner child is missing out on certain things, or has missed out, and I'd like to go back to those things now. But at least I'm now able to go back to those things and have therapy and be able to afford it, because I've done the groundwork to be able to get myself here today. So that would be my advice to them. Focus.
How is your sister? Was she one of those that made it out or not?
Unfortunately not.
She did not.
Yeah, she still relies on me financially from time to time. I wish, she's so smart. She is. She's smarter than I am. She did very well in school. But I guess even though we are sisters, our stories are also very different. Yeah. And I wish that it hadn't affected her as much as it did, because then she would have been in a much better place. But yeah, she unfortunately hasn't gotten here. But yeah, I'll just keep praying for her that maybe she will one day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I'm really proud of you, you know. I'm really honestly proud of you. Guys, I get speechless. I literally do get speechless. I think that the fact that you're in therapy, that is one of the best things that you can obviously do for yourself. I also do believe that, you know, and I've said this before, there are people that actually say that like there were a lot of people that would say, oh, I'm Miss Heartless, you know, she's mean, you're that girl, she's like, you know, this and this. And then you literally have to peel a lot of layers to see the inner soft me, because if I decide that I'm gonna be Miss Fearful right now, I turn into this emotionless like beast. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think that has also had to be a coping mechanism because of everything that I've also had to go through, you know. The traumas, they basically make you have that layer. And I think that if there's also another thing that I can also just say is that I think there's that situation where they say you can't have your cake and eat it. Because if I was someone that was emotional, I wouldn't be where I am today. You know, if I was someone that thinks with emotions, sometimes my sisters will be like, you just don't show emotions. I'm like, I'm making money. You're the one that calls me. You know, I'm like, I can't sit and be like, let me call you every day because I'm making money for us. So you sit then, be emotional, you call me, and then I'll talk to you, you know. And sometimes they wouldn't understand. But I'm also at a point where obviously, you know, with healing comes a lot. So I'm also at a point where sometimes I'll call and they're like, what's happening? Is there something wrong? I'm like, no, I'm greeting you. What's up? You know.
I'd say if I at least now in the therapy, I'm trying to be a bit more feminine. That's what my therapist says. I must get out of my masculine. So now I'm trying, and I'll call Tuli when there's nothing wrong. She answers the phone. What do you want?
Yes, because it is really honestly weird, you know. And obviously I didn't have it as rough, you know, but I just want to go ahead and say that with To Hell and Back, as I said, these are not only just episodes of people that were scammed. This is about people that went through a lot. And also it helps someone that is out there that maybe is in that situation. They're feeling sorry for themselves. They're struggling to accept the things that have happened.
And not just orphans, like some people who just have like really bad situations at home, whether it's substance abuse or physical abuse or just like intense poverty, you know, we will go through the same experience. So it's kind of like we're all orphans.
I know, right? I know. I always say I'm an orphan because, you know, my mom is passed, but my dad, you know, But I think that it's also very important that when you're someone, there's a saying I say that it's not a lot of people that agree with me, but I'm like, sometimes if I'm going through a lot, you see, like last year when I was going through a lot, I sat down and I asked myself, Owamie, can you afford to be emotional? And I was like, no, I cannot afford it. So I was like, okay, so then you cannot be emotional. You're going to push, you're going to work, you're going to make sure things go well. And things did. So this year, we can go to therapy for the healing of last year. Exactly. We have the money for that now.
You block out the emotions right now so that you can afford to properly address those emotions later on. Therapy has worked me wonders. I mean, I feel like a new person.
You are. You look it, honey. You look gorgeous.
Maybe I'll find a husband soon.
You will in London.
I think seriously, actually God was
Preparing
working on
you,
me. Yes, yeah. And obviously the therapy is still new, and there's still a lot of things that I want to address. But it's just made me understand myself a bit more and choose the things that are good about me, but maybe just work on the things that are not so good and that have been pushing people away. Because wow, hi Shem, I was up close.
You are a pusher.
Pusher.
You're a pusher, eh?
Yeah.
Ah, man, honestly, for me, Q is like a success story. You are a success story. And I think that at most times we downplay our success. You've had to go through a lot. You've had to make really tough decisions. You talk about, I was working for this job and, I was only making enough to can just pay my rent, right? And someone is sitting and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, she was. But think about it, guys. That is 30 days a month.
Yes.
And that is 12 months a year,
Yep.
365 days a year. You had to make a plan on a daily basis. So you understand like the level of decision making, because the problem with life again is that that life doesn't care you're going through a lot. It
doesn't.
still
That's
throws
what I'm
you
saying.
normal.
It's unfair to all of us.
I'm telling you, you understand. So there's a lot that I have had to go. So you are definitely a success story. I am really honestly so proud of you.
But I will say though that, and maybe this is another advice to everyone, is don't how do I put this? Don't force yourself to be alone. As much as I didn't have parents, there were so many mother figures, father figures that were there to help me where they could financially or just give me adult advice or whatever. And those people, all of their little input, I would say, made up for the mother who was not there. So I want to thank all of those women. If I could name them, I would, but the video would be too long.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that take all the help that you can get.
Yeah.
Everyone can be a mother or a father, even in the little bit that they bring to the table. Even like my helper, I get some bits of advice from her. There's people who've helped me financially. My foster mom as well. So what I'm saying is there are people who God has sent to be that parental figure. So take what you can from those people.
Yeah, no, that's true. Thank you so much for joining us. This is not goodbye. This is goodbye for now. And I know, guys, someone is going to be like, no, you've said part 2 is... This one is coming, okay? The other parts, guys, we're still working on some technical issues. But this one, there's no technical issue that's going to be worked on because Mem is leaving. Like, she is not going to be here in February. But I'm so excited for you. When you told me, I just couldn't believe it. I was just so excited for you. But I feel like I already saw it come. You already have the accent. Where did you get this accent, Shub?
It's not an accent.
You have an accent though.
Ma'am.
And a UK one. So you're gonna like blend in there.
And the schools that they sent us to were very good schools.
Okay.
So it comes from there. And also, the reason why I don't speak Zulu. Have you ever heard me speak Zulu?
Never, I've never.
Okay.
I speak better Zulu than you and I ain't even Zulu, honey. Okay.
The Zulu that I know is my name and surname. Thank you.
Wow.
So the reason why is because at the orphanage they were very big on inclusion. So there were kids who were Indian, there were white kids, colored kids. So we obviously all just had to communicate in a language
In English.
So I was speaking English. I was crying in English.
Okay. We get that. But obviously that is good because, you're very well articulated.
Thank you.
Some of us were still in there, like, hey, your accent, which accent, my darling? Can I have ama chips? Do you have amakota? But anyway, thank you so much for actually joining us. And yes, ninjas, please do make sure that you comment down below, some of your experiences. What are the best coping mechanisms that you've actually had to actually go through or deal with? The other aspect, again, that I also just wanted to say is that I actually called you and I told you that I wanted us to have a sit down because there's an instant where it happened. There's a lady that I'm not going to put her on blast or anything, but she took her life, unfortunately, allegedly, right? Those are the allegations that came out. And there was a debate wherein I said that I believe 1,000% as a parent, you have no right to take your life. Because if you're here with your kids, at least there's something you can try for your kids. But if you're not here, then your kids have to be taken to the orphanage. You are one of those that were a bit lucky because you went to a private one. There are those that were unlucky that went to a public one, which the situation there was a lot worse. We have kids that get molested. We've got kids that, there's a lot of things that actually happened. Obviously, also looking at the fact that there are more that side, there's this and that and that, Not that we're even excused, because that's inexcusable. They need to take an amount in that they can be able to provide and protect these kids. So for me, I think that I also just want to say that if you're someone that is out there and you're dealing with some mental health problems, guys, therapy is free in public hospitals. This is something that a lot of people do not know. When I was going through a lot and I was suicidal and when my mom passed, I did go to a public hospital, which was George Mokari, and I actually got therapy for free. I didn't know this, but they had to deregister me because I was struggling with depression. So I went and I got a psychologist for free. It's free in public hospitals. You go to the hospital, you talk to the doctor that you meet to say, I'm mentally not coping, I feel suicidal, I feel like killing myself. He will or she will definitely have to transfer you to the ward where you're gonna get a psychologist. Sometimes if your case is severe, they would have to also have you go see a psychiatrist, which was something that happened with me as well. So they can be able to help you for free, but taking your life is really never the option. Because for me, I believe that if you're a parent, try your best and do everything that you can so that your kid does not end up in orphanages. Do your best, try everything that you can. And again, guys, stop having kids that you can't afford, please.
That is a big one.
Bringing in children that you're going to just suffer them, because as she's saying, there's some kids that they were there, but their mothers and their fathers are there. They can't afford them. They can't, even if she's working, she's not making enough to can even get a helper that will stay with the kid or things like that. I think these are conversations that, especially in the Black community, we need to talk about. Kids can be planned, guys. You can plan to have kids. You understand? Just because you don't have a child when you're older doesn't mean you're barren. Sometimes people are still planning, or people just don't want to have kids. Like Black communities, I think that we need to just stop that thing of, a child is everything. Without a child, you are nothing. Without a child, you're this and that. You never know what people are going through. You never know the traumas that people carry. You never know the reasons why some people don't want to have kids. And again, if you are a parent, you already have kids, taking your life is never ever the option, because what is supposed to happen with the kids that you have brought to this world, But basically, that's what I just wanted to emphasize. I am really happy that you were able to come, you were able to be open and share. And I think with the part 2, that's why we'll actually hear the business side of you, because you're a very smart businesswoman. Trust and believe the way she thinks. You think like a man, babe. Like, you're a man.
It's hard to be a man.
Of course, But anyway, thank God that this therapy is gonna work, and then we'll get the lady
Q. Who Lady Q looks like? What is
I wonder like the soft you.
What is Booty Q?
I know. I'm just asking myself, like, will we be sitting here and you're just like, oh my God, friend? Like, she is not like that. She will be like, okay, ma'am. So I cannot wait for that, because I feel like we'll actually get to learn a lot from you. Please, my friend, before you leave,
I will.
Please,
I will.
Okay. Anyway.
Also, one last thing, guys. If you ever can, go and foster a child from an orphanage. If you can. Those children, one thing I was very blessed with was that I had a foster family. They're still my foster family today. And the little bit that they gave me was to be able to see what a normal family setup looks like. Other than that, I wouldn't have been able to see it. Right?
So wait, do you mean that I can go to an orphanage and then I can be able to foster a child? So like how I can financially support the child?
More than that, you bring them into your home maybe on weekends or Christmas time when schools are closed, whatever that is, just so that they can experience what it's like to be in a normal family setup. It's not adoption, it's just fostering.
Okay.
It helps a ton.
My goodness. That's something that I think that we should also talk about, because I didn't know that. I thought that maybe you would have to adopt, and I'm like, I'm not ready. But fostering, that's something that obviously we can do. Like the holidays, you spend the time with the child and everything.
For their birthday, you special. That really helped me a lot. So my foster family, Thank you.
You know where it's at. No, thank you guys. So I think that, you know what, if you are someone that knows a lot about the fostering, the system and everything, please do contact us. I'm sure there will be numbers here. I think this is a conversation that we can also have, you know, so that we can also just raise awareness out there, especially with us. Was the family black?
They were white.
Because that's what I wanted to get to. I feel like with black families, we just don't have the knowledge. So we don't even know that that's something that we can be able to do. And mostly it's white people that actually...
Of all the foster families, I think only one of them was black.
Yeah. But I think it's not just because blacks were evil. I think it's also just because of we don't know. Exactly. We don't have the knowledge. Ah, man. No, then definitely I think that if you're someone, you know, or maybe I should just go to one orphanage, because there's one that I know that I've gone to. Yeah, you know, like obviously when you go, you don't have to advertise and tell people this. I went there, did this. No, then maybe we can actually sit down and ask, like, hey, can I be able to have an interview with you? Like, we can talk about how best can we help these kids.
Yeah, maybe
the fostering.
A social worker.
Yes.
On the channel, then she can give
1,000%. So if you're a social worker, please do contact me. And if you would like to come to the show, let's talk about things like this, because I do feel like these kids, guys,
it makes a huge difference. Like I said, the finances are taken care of. The school uniform is taken care of, all of that. But that emotional side, those house mothers are not coping with how many kids.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just take one kid, and obviously you have to commit to one kid. You can't just pick and choose.
Yeah.
But if you are just there for them emotionally, it makes the world of difference.
I feel like, because I forgot to ask this before we close up, did you ever have any kids that passed whilst they were there?
Yes.
And how was that? Do you guys
Very
go
much
to the...
swept under the rug. Like,
it's like maybe the child was adopted.
The kid was not there. I remember.
So you guys would never go to the funeral or anything?
No, it was the strangest thing. And I was actually speaking to Tuli about this the other day, that 3 kids passed in my time that I was there, and we never attended any funerals. In fact, one kid passed away in front of us. He was very ill. He just collapsed. We were just told, go play outside. And then the ambulance showed up, and then that was it.
It was gone.
From Norman again.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's also why we're so, you know.
Yeah.
Because anything emotional, we should have cried for that. No? That was our friend.
Yeah.
That was our brother. And, you know, he was just gone one day.
Were the kids that would get adopted whilst you guys were there?
Oh, yes. Oh, I was so jealous.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, the emotional aspect of that, like when one is getting adopted and you're not, did that ever...
Jealousy.
Was it jealousy or just also like
hatred? It was that deep.
Yeah.
Like every child wants to be adopted. I mean, the ones who have parents, it's a different story. Maybe they don't want to. But those of us who didn't have anyone, we definitely wanted to get adopted. I would sit there and watch these parents come in and pick a child, not like pick like this, like choose a child, and then slowly I was reaching my expiration date.
What do you mean expiration date? Like up until what age?
But like if you reach like 6 or 7, it's over.
Most families don't want to take you in.
I don't know. Maybe 1 or 2 kids who were adopted over that age, but most of them it was the babies. And as I grew closer to that time, I knew it's over.
But that's still such a young age.
6 or 7?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is such a, because my baby is like 9, and like I look at him and I'm, oh man, like this is just breaking my heart.
A lot of things. And then there were even kids who were returned after adoption. That was even worse. That made me very mad, because like if you're gonna adopt, you need to decide that you're treating this child
as your child, because no matter what he does, I can't take him away.
So what makes you think that you can just return the child just because they aren't yours?
That's so sad. But family, like with the color ratio, the race ratio, what percentage difference between black families that were adopting white Indians?
Like I said, there was only one black family who adopted.
The rest were like white.
They happened to be the ones who returned the child. Unfortunately, the rest were white. They kept the children. To this day, they are still. So
when they returned, did they want to take another one?
No.
So it means maybe they went to try elsewhere. Imagine, that's so stupid.
Yeah. It's intense, but yeah.
I mean, this is heavy. But yeah, man, I mean, wow. Crazy. Okay. Well, Ninjas, I know that you guys also did not want this conversation to end. As I said, Lady Q will be coming back so that we can talk about business. That's when you will actually hear her voice. Even Abish has a very loud voice. Her voice is as loud as mine, you know.
That is a lie.
I'm telling you, your voice can be loud, Fred. Like if especially if you're like on live on TikTok, you should follow her on TikTok. Basically,
okay.
Like your voice is very loud. Like you're talking. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But I think that the moment that you actually do get into like your businesswoman element, that's where you're like, I'm here, honey. You understand? So too bad. The second part, that's when everything's going to actually happen. I think that honestly, I'm someone that guys, I don't know, I mean, when my mom passed, I wasn't young. I was 23, right? But the horror that I've had to live ever since my mother passed, she being the firstborn, it's wild. It's one of the things that made me scared to honestly have a child. I can't imagine, like, a baby, a young child, you're growing, you have to...
Still to this day, I don't want children.
Trauma.
It's definitely that.
But I think after therapy,
therapist will address
definitely.
That. And then when I come out, guys, and I say, now I want kids, I don't want anyone asking me questions. No questions.
No question. You said, I have healed.
That's it.
Yeah. Anyway, ninjas, I love you guys so much. Stay blessed. And of course, you guys know that we will see you guys on our next upload. Bye, ninjas.